In the middle we have a Jew, Lazarus. Lazarus is, his wife is the head of basically the customs in Russia, so you can't get in Russia without the wife of, she's the head of all customs operating especially in Moscow, and he himself, an oligarch, working for the oligarchs, is of Georgian origin, but he's a Jew, and he explained me how the Jews literally transformed themselves into the aristocracy of the communist establishment and managed to survive also the persecution of Stalin if they simply worked with the establishment in a certain way. Nowadays they're very strong. But for example, Senator Sergei Gurdjieff officially objects the Zionists. But when this other guy here gave him a $900,000 watch in front of my eyes, he accepted it. And why, you say, why a senator from the Russian Federation should accept such a gift? Because corruption in Russia is made with watches. There is $1 million watches. Once I had 3 of them on my table. And they're used for corruption by the Illuminati so they can keep on their oligarchy and all their practices.
So, but why? How does Zionism serve the Illuminati's interest? You're talking about their vision of Armageddon because it is written so in the Bible.
Absolutely. The Zionism, you see, is a corrupt branch of what is really the religion of Abraham. That was already corrupt for a long time and tried with Zionism, especially coming out of Ukraine, to gather power. But the Zionist families, like for example the Rothschilds, who have been so important for the implementation of Zionism, are themselves also working linked to the Vatican, because they are Knights of Malta. So you will say, how is possible Zionism and the Vatican? It doesn't really fit in. One should oppose the other. While publicly it might seem so, in reality they are completely connected. And I think that John Paul II made this quite evident when he called them our oldest brothers and embraced with so much love the rabbi in Rome, which I repeat, Rome is the oldest Jewish community in the world, so connected to Rome you have also this, and they worked for the Vatican. I saw Mossad agents in Rome from the Sonnino family, which I used to work with, involved with La Banda della Maiana, which was this fearsome gang of people involved with the P2, with the intelligence service, killers that were doing all kinds of weapons, cocaine, heroin, all kinds of business with them. And they were receiving every year a letter from Andreotti, which is a senior Democrat Christian, very well known in the Atlantic Pact, in the NATO. Andreotti is one of the key people in Italy, also as a politician still nowadays. He has been Prime Minister for many times, and he was is a senior Opus Dei and P2 member. But working with these people, I saw the power of the Zionist establishment. For example, George Ugo Ballesteri wanted to do a Isaac Rabbi award, and I said, why? But because under the influence of the Zionistic element that is always there, and they like to go in Jerusalem. They have a specific place under what is the Temple of Solomon. Still nowadays they do this practice. They have a high priestess of Melchizedek. Now this high priestess is not really a woman, is a man-woman. Is a priest. There used to be a man and a priest and a monk, I think, working for the Vatican. He's one of the biggest experts of the Bible. Is now called Michela Mercenaro. He had a sex change, approved by the Vatican. Now she is working in some kind of university officially. In reality, she's working also for the police in their investigations in the occult and occult murders, but she is the high priestess of Melchizedek of the Order of Zion and celebrates these occult rituals in Jerusalem with the elite there, and her function is to be androgyne, because half man, half woman. Mm-hmm. She can have this Zionist element is working. At times it has been opposing the Vatican, but at the end has decided, especially after the Second World War, to merge, and it couldn't be otherwise, because after the Second World War the Vatican became an American club. Also the Freemasons didn't exist inside the Vatican as lodges, but after the Second World War they were granted 4 lodges, a whole Grand Lodge set up in the Vatican with their own different lodges, with an official charter coming from America. You know?
Okay.
So the thing is, there was obviously an embracing also from the Vatican of what they have always embraced, which has been to be themselves head of these aristocratic families, themselves also involved with the Zionist families. Why? Because they were the bankers, so they had to be somebody who had to sponsor other people. There was a bank, and the bank is a very important thing for the Vatican. In fact, the IOR, la finanza dello IOR, the finances of the IOR, are fundamental for the Vatican. And we go back to the disinformation of before, Segretum Omega. Why is so important that people have to realize that the Vatican is hiding something? But what is actually the Vatican hiding? The Vatican is hiding books and important rituals of evocation.
What about the third secret of Fatima? Is the Vatican hiding this or no?
The thing is this: the Vatican constructs miracles for their own purpose, to establish a place where people go, spend money on hideous things like little crosses, make cash, a couple of holy waters, then so you have Lourdes, Fatima, then you have Padre Pio now.
So in other words, it's just a show to make money. There is no secret?
No,
there's no real secret?
No, there is secret that at times these people have been in contact with entities, okay? Or they have opened an interdimensional door with an entity that has come through and has revealed them certain secrets. For them, certain things, certain prophecies are very important because at times, and that's why the Jesuits are in Mount Graham also with their astronomical observatory, they have to calculate exactly because they want to avoid sometimes that the prophecy comes against them in any way. If the prophecy becomes enemy of their own project, then at that point that prophecy has to be scrapped off the map. The people that the prophecy can't come into being. Why? Because they are there making sure that that kid, if it's born that day, dies. Why? Because that kid will be an enemy of their order. And it's already for them, so there has been...
Who is the Black Pope?
Black Pope is the general of the Jesuits. As I said, his power is very strong because the Sieve, as we mentioned before, is just a small creation of what is the Jesuit intelligence apparatus, which is very important.
Okay, but who is he specifically? What's his name?
Adolf Nicholas is the Black Pope now, is known.
Okay, and is he going to be the Black Pope of Revelation?
No. Then you have the Black Pope of Revelation. That doesn't need to be, there is, you see, there is a confusion here. There is always an element of confusion. And why?
Certainly.
Because when you have two elements, then you usually choose the wrong one, and the right one gets left untouched. So everybody is focused, the Black Pope of Revelation is the Black Pope of the Jesuits. Me personally, which I know the Jesuits very well, as I have demonstrated, and as I know the Freemason very well, and the whole apparatus, I can tell you that the Black Pope is not the general, it is the general of the Jesuits, and it's very important, but he's not the one of Revelation, because the one of Revelation is black. He's from Nigeria. He's already a cardinal. He's already been put in the post that used to be of Ratzinger. He's already there, ready to become the next Pope.
And his name is?
I used to remember his name, but I'm sorry, these African names sometimes. But it's very easy to find.
What is his role in 2012? Is this the year of Revelation, 2012?
The important thing is that they reflect the prophecies, they make them happen for their own advantage. Now the Jesuits, with their own Black Pope, which is obviously the figure of the Jesuit general, which is very important. I never underestimate that figure because it's a very important one, as sometimes powerful as the Pope, because they have been so important as an order, and because they have the esoteric knowledge, and they have the knowledge and access to those interdimensional doors. That's why, it's very natural. How comes a Jesuit is in an astronomical observatory in Mount Graham in Arizona, or is in the library in the Vatican? What is taking, if you can't check a book in the secret archive of the Vatican because they are there protecting it. At the same time, they are in charge of an observatory. This should make it very clear that when they deliberately spread through this guy Barbado this information regarding the Secretum Omega and Planet X, we should at least question it, because
Okay, what is the purpose, though? Barbado, we have just interviewed a journalist who has worked with Barbado in getting his information out. Okay, Lucas Scantamburlo, and basically this is a very open, innocent, genuine, honest guy.
But the Jesuits take advantage of a fool like him in 2 minutes. You have to be a little bit awake about this.
Okay, I'm telling is this true of Barbado as well? Because Barbado is now out of a job. He cannot get work. Okay. All because of this.
Barbado, by his own assertions, okay, he says, I, in the year 2000, or 2001 actually to be more precise, came into contact with a Jesuit.
Right.
I mean, if I come into contact with a Jesuit, actually I make a picture, a photo, I put it on the wall, I met a Jesuit, friends, that's it. Check it out, because whatever comes out of
he came forward from SIV, he was not supposed to be communicating.
First of all,
it's secret, supposedly. No?
There is no, he called it scheggia impazzita, so a rebel of the system within the sieve in the Vatican.
Right.
It doesn't exist, such a thing. Forget it.
But you're a rebel.
No, I'm out. I'm not in.
But you were a rebel you were inside at some point when
Barbado says, I went to the office in Rome where he was accredited and where I saw that he was a legitimate source.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
You think if with my revelations now,
yes,
I can still go in an office so high up or be in that office? I'm doing my revelations and it's very clear for everyone. Actually, it's clear also for the Jesuits. In fact, the thing is, they arrested me 3 times in Norway. They tortured me, injected me, beaten me up, put in prison cell. They did all kinds of things.
How did you get out?
Thanks God I got out, because the first 2 times I repented towards the Illuminati system and who was my superiors, and I said, okay, sorry, I'm gonna not go further.
But here you are, you're not...
No, wait. Then the 3rd time was when I literally came out of the system, or came out of the group, was after June 2006, I told you, prior, because of the involvement that they wanted me to have with my wife's organization. I said, okay, no, I started to accuse them of being themselves a fraud, that their interreligious gatherings, because here we are talking, in my documentation that I will show you, about interreligious gatherings that were organized in monasteries around Italy for the specific purpose of trying to bring closer Islam or the Illuminati with the concept of Islam, and be able to have also what happened many centuries ago, a meeting between knighthoods of the East and the West. So basically between the Islamic chivalric orders and the Christian.
Is this bad?
No, this was great. This was all great.
Right.
But the problem was that there was people like Giorgio Balestrieri in it, that they were only involved because they want to make a buck by selling a few weapons and other technology. I didn't know that I was covering up for certain crooks. The moment I realized that this was only crookery done upon me, that I was the victim of these people.
Right.
That, for example,
but
here...
you say you were tortured.
Watch.
Please tell me, how did you get away?
Here, you have it's written here.
Okay, Bill.
For example, on the left side, you have a documentation of a meeting held in Bologna, Villa Leona. Okay, now Villa Leona is the headquarters of the Opus Dei in Bologna, and this was a meeting with the Illuminati. Roberto Negrini, you can see his name very clearly, which is also officially an anti-Christian, a Satanist, but in the Opus Dei headquarters, you know, like Holy Water and Devil, all together in one group. You see the symbols of the universal unity of the Monte Carlo Lodge here, and you see clearly the reference, and also the name of Carlo Maria Baserga, which is the head there of the Opus Dei, and being involved in the business that the Opus Dei did in the port of Genova. Also, recently, as last June, this came up in an investigation of the police in Italy. but they have scrubbed off my name out of the phone interception. But I have photos with all those people that I can show you, and my involvement.
Okay, but
also here, watch here. This is another invitation. Now this was supposed to be the meetings of meetings. This meeting here was supposed to be held in September in the monastery of Santa Scholastica, very important monastery. You can find this monastery on the first scene of Omen Free.
Okay.
The film Omen Free, you can find it, this monastery. This monastery was the last place where Ratzinger talked before becoming Pope. In this monastery we were supposed to meet with my wife also there, representing her Islamic organization, and with Gabriele Mandelkhan, who is a Sufi Gerai Helveti, and with basically with these people. We were also, with the Dr. Aldo Rapicauli, which is a high-level Freemason, celebrate the Giordano Bruno, which we mentioned before, death, there, it's written there.
Okay, but you're still telling me that you got away. You're telling me that...
This one in September never happened. It was cancelled because I, in June, walked out of the organization.
I understand, but, but you said you've been arrested. We know
Yes.
that you've been harassed,
Yes.
right? And I'm just asking
What happened, for example,
how do you get away from the Illuminati?
Okay, what happened was I needed to get away saving my life. So the only way to get away saving my life was to eventually reveal and keep safely with me this information and reveal it to the appropriate sources so I could defend myself.
Who are the appropriate sources?
People like you, people that came forward.
The general public.
What happened was this. In October, September of 2006, after my kid was born and I recovered from the arrest, which was pretty mind-breaking, and I managed to get out. Why? Because I managed to prove to the authorities here in Norway that what I was saying was true regarding my involvement with certain groups, that they were deliberately trying to attack me, and that there was even a guy, a doctor, involved, a guy called Nikolai de Matos Fritzvold, who is the head of a mental hospital here in Norway, that in reality was related to a General Fritzvold, and also himself a master of the Memphis and Mizraim. I have on my diploma of the Memphis and Mizraim, I have his name written very clearly, and basically we find that this guy is an occultist practicing voodoo act or whatever. You can check on the internet for yourself, Nicola, and he's also a doctor. How can a doctor in a mental hospital be? But what he did was very evil. The moment I didn't agree with him, he lift the phone, go and lock him up.
Okay, so
but when I showed this documentation at the end to the appropriate sources, the director of the hospital there was a guy who was not the one the year before, who I knew was working with the CIA, but was another guy, and this time he didn't know really what was happening. I could see that he was only put from on top in that situation. I could show my documentation and get out of that situation. So I got out, and I said, how can I save my life? Because, okay, for the moment they are not arresting me anymore.
Right.
I'm going to come out with a website. I'm going to scan a few things, documents, open a blog. That's happened with Illuminati Confessions at squarespace.com. Squarespace.com was a blog, kind of situation. And after a month I started to have a lot of problems because they received piles of complaints and of threats to shut down the website. So on the 6th of December 2006, I was shut down. All my information was risking to be lost because I had to work on it. I'm not a genius of the computer. I just scrambled together all these things. But the interest was already born. And thanks God, people had downloaded, some people, I don't know, on the internet had downloaded my material. They managed to retrieve it, to transfer it on the website in Italy of a Freemason, Daniele Dal Bosco, a Freemason, though, that was himself conscious of what they were doing, and he himself said, I want to support you, because I think that, he saw the injustices I was subject to also within Freemasons. So he said, okay, Leo, we open Illuminati Confession at web, which is illuminaticonfessions.webfriend.it, which is still in existence, and we go on with your revelations. Not even 24 hours after they shut down my Squarespace account, the police came through the door of my house with two policemen and two social workers to take my kids. I was living in the center of Oslo at the time. My wife was in the house. They probably thought I was alone, so they broke in. But when they saw that my wife was there, they said, okay, bring it to the other room, we want to bring it to the other room. I said, what? What do you want to do to me? Only because I have a website you want to arrest me? Am I not free to do what I want? I said, my dear friends, in the last 24 hours I transferred my website to Italy, I said. If you now arrest me, kill me, do whatever I want, the website is going to stay alive. It's now on the net. There is no way you can shut it down. But the police said, if you continue with this website, we can, have your kids taken from you and you have to calm down with this stuff. How dares the police of Norway? And I said once again to the camera and to the people of Norway, shame on you, come to my door, come to my house, threaten me to take my kids because they can't take the truth upon Per Christian Krok, ex-secretary of the Ministry of Defense, who I saw in open lodge worshipping the Book of the Dead and the Steel of Revealing of Aleister Crowley, dressed in a black cloak. I saw Trond Kare Westby, the head of the Defense Command in Norway, in their lodges and also in Masonic lodges where I met him. And this guy is the head of the Defense Command in Norway of the medical staff. I will show you after his